You're listening to the Telltale Podcast. Don't forget to check me out on all social media, on Patreon, on Teespring, and on Etsy. All links can be found on my website, telltaleatheist.com, or in the podcast's description.
Hey, this is Rob, and I have a question with regards to the capital L-O-R-D, and then the lowercase L-O-R-D, and then the uppercase L, and then lowercase O-R-D. My brother's a Jehovah's Witness, and he asked me to look into this. So he mentioned Matthew 22, 43, 44, and Psalms 110:1. Thank you.
Really good question. So this is what your brother-in-law, I think you said your brother-in-law. This is what he's talking about. In the King James Bible, when it was translated throughout the years, the name Jehovah was in a couple of specific places. Psalms 83:18, and once in Exodus in various different places. When the name of God was being written into the Bible, they had this superstition about using the name. Like the Jewish people who were writing the Bible had this weird superstition that you weren't supposed to use the name. The actual letters used in the Bible originally were YHWH. In the Hebrew and the Aramaic and everything, it was YHWH, not JHVH. We know that it was YHWH and not JHVH, like Jehovah's Witnesses claim, like you will find in the King James Bible, an older one. We know that because J's didn't exist until like the 1600s or something like that. It's just not JHVH. We just know that for a fact. So the thing that your brother-in-law is trying to point out and get you to recognize by citing the scriptures, Matthew 22, 43, and 44, and Psalms 110, I think, is there was some superstition that kind of survived about using God's name. And so they replaced almost every instance of the use of the Tetragrammaton, which is YHWH, they replaced almost every use of it with capital LORD. And those two verses, when they replaced it in those two verses, it makes them sound absurd to read them out. So what your brother-in-law is trying to do is get you to buy into this conspiracy theory that people are trying to hide the name, try to cover up the fact that it's really Jehovah, where in reality, JHVH, Jehovah, was a mistranslation from the start. It's YHWH. As I said, J's did not exist when the Bible was written. They didn't even exist until the 1600s, 300, 400, 500 years ago. So take that for what you will. Jehovah's Witnesses just like to buy into that conspiracy theory, but when you push them on it, when you really prod and pin them down and try to get answers, they will typically admit to you that YHWH is what the Tetragrammaton translates to. The name is pronounced Yahweh, not Jehovah, but they'll claim that Jehovah is the modern English translation of Yahweh. I don't know why that matters, why they would be using the name in English when the name was not English to start with. Why aren't they using the name as the people who coined it originally used it, Yahweh? Kind of ridiculous, but there's your answer. You can take that back to your brother-in-law. In fact, I think I did a video on it on my channel at some point. Maybe I'll do an updated video, but you could take a look at it and maybe show him if you want to.